he won this fight.
He's gonna beat Crawford?
Yeah.
I think so too. Let's go.
Canelo!
Viva Mexico.
Viva Mexico!
What do you think about Canelo versus Crawford? Crawford's moving up like 20 pounds. What do you think?
Good. Good for Canelo.
Good for Canelo?
When legends talk, the boxing world listens. And when Manny Pacquiao picks a side in the Canelo vs. Crawford super fight, you know it's time to pay attention. This isn't just any prediction. This is coming from the only 8-division world champion, a man who's moved up the weights and faced the best. Canelo Alvarez, the undisputed super middleweight king, faces Terrence Crawford, the undefeated welterweight master, on September 13th at Allegiant Stadium. Crawford's moving up 2 weight classes, about 12.5 pounds, to chase history as the first 3-division undisputed champion. The size gap is real, the stakes even bigger.
I think he won this fight.
He's gonna beat Crawford?
Yeah.
I think so too. Let's go.
Canelo!
Viva Mexico.
Viva Mexico!
That's not easy for Crawford. I mean, it's Canelo has the big advantage, but Crawford needs to manage well his body, his speed, and his power, because he's moving up to another level of weight.
Pacquiao knows what it's like to move up and face bigger men. His advice to Crawford is simple but powerful.
Advice for Crawford moving up in weight? You did it so many times and you were successful. What do you tell Crawford? Any advice?
My advice to him is just focus on speed and the speed and style. And also strength.
You should box.
Pa-picture me.
And when pressed for a pick, Pacquiao didn't hesitate. Thumbs up for Canelo.
What do you think about Canelo versus Crawford? Crawford's moving up like 20 pounds. What do you think?
Good. Good for Canelo.
Good for Canelo?
That's a vote of confidence for the Mexican superstar. Pacquiao sees Canelo as the favorite, and here are the reasons. First, the size. Canelo has been fighting and dominating at 168 pounds for years. Crawford's been a force at 147, but that's a huge leap.
You know, preparing like that opponents, like is not only the speed, but you know the techniques that you can use in the fight. Like, make sure that in your daily routine, training routine, like that, make sure that all the techniques, strategy, combination, like, you know, it's accurate to your opponent's style.
Pacquiao's blueprint, speed, style, and technical precision, but he's clear. The challenge is massive. Canelo's experience, power, and physicality are a different animal. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, size. Canelo's natural weight, power, and ability to absorb shots are major hurdles. Pacquiao says the key for Crawford is to manage his body and power at the new weight, something only a handful of fighters in history have done successfully. Crawford's never been in with a guy this big, this strong. Can he bring his power up, or will Canelo just walk through him? Pacquiao's own career is proof that it's possible to jump the divisions, but he knows better than anyone. It's a gamble every time. Crawford's not just any welterweight. He's 41-0, 31 KOs, and the only male boxer to become undisputed in 2 weight classes in the 4-belt era. But as Pacquiao points out, this is a new level.
Speed and style. And also strength.
You should box.
Pa-picture me.
Crawford's best chance? Use his footwork, angles, and ring IQ to frustrate Canelo. Pacquiao's hint, don't try to match Canelo punch for punch. Outthink him, outspeed him. Terrence Crawford has been criticized for having a friendly dinner with Canelo Alvarez before their highly anticipated fight. Critics, including boxing figures like Oscar de la Hoya, have questioned the lack of tension between the two fighters, arguing that a rivalry should be built on real animosity and not polite gestures. However, Crawford isn't fazed by the backlash and is clear in his response to those criticizing his friendly behavior before the battle in the ring.
Listen, I don't care what nobody else on the outside got to say. You know, I can have dinner with you and then be ass, you know, at dinner. You know, so it don't matter, you know, what De La Hoya say or anybody else, you know. I don't care.
Crawford is making it clear that his relationship with Canelo outside of the ring is irrelevant to the fight. Having dinner with Canelo does not mean he respects him or sees him as a friend. It's just part of the business. His focus is on the fight itself, and he's ready to let his fists do the talking. As the Canelo versus Crawford showdown approaches, tensions between the two fighters have escalated beyond the ring.
Fucking awesome. Thank you guys.
I walked you down when you supposed to be the bigger man.
Yeah, hey, you say that because you fighting with nobody, and you obviously look like a great fighter. And you gonna fight out September 13th. This is gonna be different for you,
and it's gonna be different for you as well.
After months of polite exchanges and promotional activities, Canelo Alvarez has made it clear that his respect for Crawford has dwindled. The friction became evident when Canelo expressed frustration over, particularly regarding what Canelo saw as Crawford's disrespect toward him. The war of words is heating up, and Canelo isn't holding back anymore.
Yeah, a little bit more personal because, you know, I did respect him. I don't respect him anymore because he say, I'm not gonna do what they want me to do and this and that. And then he tried to, maybe Turki Al-Rashid told him, hey, you need to do something because you seem so nervous in Riyadh. So and he tried to like walk me back, and that's why I pushed him. And you know, like I say, don't f with me.
Canelo's frustration stems from Crawford's comments and actions leading up to the fight. Canelo accused Crawford of being disrespectful by trying to downplay the challenges of the fight and then backtracking on his statements. The incident in Riyadh, where Crawford was perceived as nervous, further fueled Canelo's anger, leading to a physical altercation where Canelo pushed Crawford. The sense of personal animosity is now clear. Canelo sees Crawford's behavior as an affront to his honor and the respect that should come with being a top-tier champion. Canelo's comments reflect how deeply personal this fight has become. What started as a simple boxing rivalry has now evolved into a battle of pride and respect, with Canelo vowing to make Crawford pay for his perceived disrespect. Canelo's anger only intensifies as the fight approaches, and it's clear that this will not be a typical, respectful matchup between two champions. Instead, Canelo is preparing to fight with a level of intensity and aggression driven by the personal tensions between the two men.
Yeah, you watch Saunders fight, right?
Which one? The Saunders. Oh,
he pissed me off.
Over.
He pissed me off.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be almost the same.
It's gonna be bad.
Yeah, very bad.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Canelo is not just coming into this fight with the intent to win. He's coming in to make Crawford suffer for the disrespect he feels he's received. Canelo believes that the personal stakes are higher than ever before, and this anger will only fuel his determination to put Crawford in his place. As the heated tension between Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez continues to build up, Crawford took a direct shot at Canelo during a recent exchange at a press conference. Canelo, trying to justify his previous losses by referencing the good fighter moving up theory, found himself on the defensive when Crawford turned the tables. What followed was a verbal back and forth that had the potential to completely shake Canelo's confidence. Here's how Crawford destroyed Canelo's argument using his own career history.
I know he's a good fighter, but this is just different. You know,
Great fighter.
You see what happened when a good fighter jump up and his opponent is great fighter. So you're gonna find out.
That means you're a good fighter and Bivol is a great fighter, right? Right? Is you a good fighter or a great fighter? Let me know.
I'm a great fighter.
So you got your ass.
You're a
good fighter, right?
You're a good fighter.
I'm saying.
But I'm great.
Okay, okay. And well, every time you stepped up, you lost. Great fighter.
Crawford's bold statement was aimed at stripping away Canelo's ability to use his past defeat as an excuse and to make him confront the reality of his career. By reminding Canelo of his loss to Bivol, Crawford used Canelo's own words against him, making him contradict himself in front of the world. As the much-anticipated Canelo versus Crawford fight draws near, David Benavidez, a former super middleweight champion, offers his perspective on whether Terence Crawford has what it takes to dethrone Canelo Alvarez. Benavidez, known for his own high-level boxing IQ and experience at 168 pounds, gives Crawford a real shot at winning but highlights the challenges that come with stepping up in weight. Here's what Benavidez had to say about Crawford's chances against Canelo.
Does he have an opportunity to beat Canelo?
I think if anybody has a opportunity, has a chance to beat Canelo, I think it's Terence Crawford. His IQ is on another level. He's a great fighter and he's strong. It's just that it's a lot of weight, you know what I mean? And he didn't have a hard time at 154, but he wasn't like, you know what I mean? The other guy was getting him with some good punches, you know what I mean? So he felt the power at 154. Yeah. So imagine you go up to 160, 160. Madrimov is a good fighter. And then, you know, you're fighting a strong fighter like Canelo. So, I feel like it's like I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Terence Crawford wins, but I wouldn't be surprised if he loses either.
Yeah, if Canelo, because more likely if Canelo does win.
Benavidez acknowledges Crawford's high boxing IQ and strength, which give him a legitimate chance to challenge Canelo. However, he also points out the major hurdle Crawford faces, the weight difference. Moving up to face a physically larger and more powerful Canelo at 168 pounds presents a significant risk for Crawford, especially considering he's felt the power from fighters even at 154 pounds. As the Canelo versus Crawford fight nears, Eddie Hearn discusses the mental side of the fight, particularly Crawford's unshakable confidence. Hearn, who has worked closely with Canelo, shares his perspective on the upcoming matchup, acknowledging how Crawford's mindset could give him an edge.
Yeah. I like Terence. I've worked a lot with Canelo, and I think just because of what I saw in Riyadh and because of the threat, and he's getting on as well, Crawford, but it's just like the mindset of Crawford. Like, there's no doubt in Terence Crawford's mind that he wins this fight. And when you spend a bit of time with him, you kind of start buying into that. And I guess that's what happened in Riyadh, because I traveled with him to the fight. And
Hearn recognizes Crawford's self-belief, but hints at how this fight is a true 50-50 situation. Despite his personal support for Canelo, he's seen enough from Crawford's mindset to understand that Crawford's confidence might be a game changer. Now, Hearn moves to analyze the fight more tactically, acknowledging Canelo's experience and Crawford's strategy. He reflects on what makes this fight so difficult to call, given the qualities of both fighters.
You know, but it's a 50-50 fight. I think gun to head, I'm probably picking Crawford right now, but I want Canelo to win, and he can win for sure, but Terence is going to make it really tricky and awkward for him, and I don't think he's going to like that kind of fight.
Hearn's assessment emphasizes that this fight could go either way, with Crawford's style being something Canelo may struggle with. Despite Hearn's personal leanings towards Canelo, he recognizes that Crawford's strategy could potentially lead to an upset. As the Canelo versus Crawford debate rages on, Teddy Atlas, a seasoned boxing analyst and trainer, steps in with his own bold prediction. While Canelo is widely regarded as a formidable champion, Atlas has made it clear that he believes Crawford has the edge in this high-stakes fight. Here's what Atlas had to say about why he's picking Crawford to win.
I'm taking Crawford. He'll handle it all. That's it. I am. I'm not in any way trying to shortcome the tremendous fighter named Canelo. I like Canelo a lot, but I like Crawford more. I like Crawford, and I liked him before Canelo didn't look great in his last fight against Skull.
Atlas starts by declaring his support for Crawford, emphasizing that his pick is not about disrespecting Canelo, but simply about how much he believes in Crawford's abilities. He admits that despite his admiration for Canelo, Crawford's style and potential outweigh the Mexican champion's recent performance, especially after Canelo's less than impressive showing against William Skull. Atlas explains that he's had faith in Crawford long before the recent setbacks for Canelo. Despite Canelo's storied career and his impressive resume, Atlas believes Crawford's adaptability and mental strength will be the decisive factors.
I liked it when the fight was first made 2 years ago, or talked about 2 years ago, or close to 2 years ago. As far as all these bells and whistles and all these things you're talking about, Bud, look, Turkey Atlas Sheik.
Atlas remains convinced that Crawford's intelligence in the ring and his style will be too much for Canelo to handle in their upcoming bout. As the boxing world watches the build-up to the Canelo versus Crawford fight, Antonio Tarver, a former world champion and boxing analyst, weighs in on the matchup. He begins by discussing the physical aspect of the fight, particularly the size difference between the two fighters, and how it won't be the dominant factor that everyone assumes.
No, bro, I know Crawford. And he's different. And see, the only thing different here is Canelo is not a bigger guy at that weight. He's not like he's standing 6'1", 6'2", like Bivol or one of those guys. So on fight night, the size is not going to be the main thing, the most important thing. It's going to be skill set. And both of them coming with their skill set.
Tarver points out that while Canelo is a strong and experienced fighter, the size advantage won't be as significant as many believe. Unlike other fighters who tower over their opponents, Canelo won't have the height and reach advantages that can dictate the pace of a fight. Instead, skill will play the defining role in this battle between two elite fighters. Tarver continues to explain that while size may not be the deciding factor, the skill sets of both fighters are what will ultimately decide the outcome of the fight. However, he brings attention to a key aspect, Canelo's recent opponents, and whether they've been enough to prepare him for a fighter like Crawford.
But what I haven't seen lately is the opponents that Canelo is facing. Those guys aren't going to get him ready for a guy like Crawford. So Canelo is going to have to go back to that grind and turn back the hands of times too. Because if he show up like he did against Skull, he show up like he did against Benavidez, not Benavidez, but Berlanga, and the other guy. What's the other guy name? Munguia. Bro, those guys, he didn't have enough activity. The last time I saw Canelo that would beat, I think, this Crawford was Plant.
Here, Tarver criticizes Canelo's recent opponents, implying that they haven't provided the level of competition needed to prepare him for a fighter of Crawford's caliber. Tarver believes that Canelo will need to return to his old dominant self, the fighter who was aggressive, active, and precise, if he hopes to have a chance against Crawford. This analysis sets up the stage for the fight to be much more than just a battle of power. Tarver suggests that if Canelo shows up without the necessary activity and energy, he could struggle against someone as skillful and tactical as Crawford.
Now if that Canelo come cutting the ring, all throwing combination to the head and to the body, active, it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. You know what I mean? And I still think I give Crawford a chance even then. So that's what type of talent I think Crawford is. He's definitely gonna have to get used to that power. If he can take Canelo power, he gonna win the.
That's kind of the question of it, right?
If he can take that power, he gonna win.
Tarver's takes.
Tarver's takes.
Yeah, there it is.
Day.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you, brother.
Tarver concludes by acknowledging Crawford's potential to handle Canelo's power. If Crawford can withstand Canelo's strength and aggression, Tarver believes that Crawford's skill set will allow him to come out on top in what he predicts will be a close and competitive fight. The Canelo versus Crawford showdown is drawing attention from boxing experts, legends, and fans alike, with Manny Pacquiao, David Benavidez, Eddie Hearn, and Teddy Atlas offering their. It's clear this fight is far from one-sided. The focus is on Crawford's unshakable confidence and IQ versus Canelo's physicality and experience. This fight isn't just about speed versus power. It's a battle of styles, mental strength, and strategic adjustments. Canelo, a seasoned champion at 168 pounds, will have to deal with the tricky, awkward style that Crawford brings to the table, while Crawford has to prove he can handle Canelo's power and size at a higher weight class. So who do you think will take home the win? Will Crawford's boxing IQ and speed be enough to outmaneuver Canelo's strength and experience? Or will Canelo prove that his power and size are too much for the welterweight champion to overcome? Let us know your thoughts and predictions in the comments below.